Well, we need art. Art is nutrition for the mind and for the soul. Where I grew up, I thought I'd grow up to live in a van on the side of a road or something. And so being an artist is really a dream come true. And I learned a lot of this by doing graffiti art and doing it on the street. Growing up in Los Angeles early on welfare and seeing that side of life, drug dealing, gangs, you know, street art evolved from a lot of that. A lot of my work I'm doing right now is based off of the concept of evolving the mind, evolving the way we see and think. It's just very expressive of ideas of freedom and release, some form of retribution. I've been an artist my whole life. I've been drawing and painting since 3 or 4 years old, and I got into graffiti art in the mid-'80s, now 2008, and this is our studio here where we're doing silk screening. After doing something like that for so long, the level of conviction that you feel for your work increases too, and it really becomes a fulfilling purpose, like to be an artist, to do your work, complete it, come back the next day and see it. There's nothing like it. Magic Mountain, nothing out there. In high school doing graffiti art, it was always a want and a hope that I would get in a crew that had camaraderie and teamship and skills and ambition and wants. You know, building up the CBS crew was really important to me. I lasted in that crew from 1989 until about 1997. My boy Skate died in 1993, and that changed the dichotomy of how the crew's camaraderie worked together. The mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley, awarded us all, basically saying thanks for painting something historical in the city of Los Angeles.
So we actually commissioned a graph artist to work with us. And if he was a member of a crew, he was awarded an award of achievement. And Mear One must have been one of those kids. I mean, I think it's really important to recognize that the opportunities for young people in which they can have the possibility of working on something serious and making a contribution is really critical to actually making them into citizens, making them into people who are participants in their communities, and basically are recognized for something they can contribute. He received an award because he made a valuable contribution.
I look at graffiti as a social movement, a political thing. When you look at Los Angeles graffiti, the easiest thing for someone to do is to make it black and white and say gang graffiti black, you know, creative graffiti white or whatever. But there's grayscale, and actually there's a full spectrum of color that goes in with this whole mixture here. What you have is youth that is dissatisfied with the status quo of life. And gang graffiti is one of those reactions. And from that, you're going to find kids that aren't so violent, that are more creative, that are going to move more towards the graffiti art. Then you're going to find kids that want to do graffiti art that are just bullies or that don't have talent. This is a reaction to the conditions that are going on in our city.
And the fact that youth are engaged in the vandalization of them is a very profound statement about the deterioration of the society, of the deterioration of civic life in Los Angeles, in which essentially the only option for that young person is to vandalize or go to prison. Not the idea that that person could even think that maybe some point they would have an opportunity for a wall themselves in which they could speak in more eloquent voices. And through the Neighborhood Pride program, for example, what we did is we asked for permissions for walls, and we got permits. So that we got a commitment from a building owner, any person really. It could be on a public wall, or it could have been a private wall. It could be a mom and dad market. That's why you see so many of them on all types of facilities. Corporate graffiti is okay. because they're buying it, right? They're buying the space, even if they don't have the permits.
Space is defined by retail, advertisement, all that ish, and so, I mean, that's just another form of artwork. If our world has been cluttered and destroyed by billboards and brick walls and concrete, redeveloping that space so that we can be together, right, and figure it out from there. But there's no space for us to figure anything out in. That space isn't supported.
And that's intentional in a certain respect.
That is totally intentional.
They don't want us getting any big ideas.
It was intentional at a point, but now it's like just automatic. Now it's just like it's like common knowledge. Like space can make money. So
well, it's been implemented by the generation.
Well, space is such a premium in Southern California. You know that aspect has pretty much evolved through just economic means. But
they knock down parks to build like buildings and shit. Right. They do the opposite.
The resistance that they exemplify is not a shock. They're a line of resistance against saying corporations can be the only people to occupy public space. Even many of these billboards that are being put up without permits, they're not going to prison. I'd like to see the people who put all the beer ads along the boardwalk here in Venice, which are illegal, in prison. Why don't we arrest them the same way we arrest the young people and make them do time? Well, they're not even being fined. So there's a selective enforcement going on.
I was painting a mural one day, and a woman pulled up, and it was a mural of a woman kind of on the verge of looking like a Virgin Mary, but she was Muslim, and she had a baby, and her baby was on the verge of possibly looking like a baby Christ. He's a baby Muslim, and they're standing on top of a pile of TVs with lies and wars and deception and all the Christian TVs. It was definitely a very, strong opinion mural. I had a woman tell me that I should be chained to her bumper and drag me around town because of my opinion on it, that her son was over there fighting for my right to paint a mural like that, and I should love my country. Just like one of those things, well, why shouldn't I be able to paint it then? That's what he's fighting for. I think a lot of us in society get caught up in going to school, getting a job, and getting on with our craft and buying things. I think to graffiti artists and a lot of young artists nowadays, that lifestyle doesn't work. There's a level of excitement, I think, that has evolved in this country. Going out at nighttime, it's like making money. It's like getting what you want. It's like seeing something beautiful. It's like eating your favorite food. It's a wonderful feeling to go out and be with your friends on the street at night and enjoy the sound and the vastness of something we're not used to, because we're out there in the streets all day and it's just full of people and cars and smog and bullshit. And there's an excitement that can't be matched. Yeah, there we go. That was tight, huh? Live art, I make mistakes in front of an audience of people and I'm forced to correct it a way that I didn't really preconceive, and constantly learning new shit. It's kind of like I'm forcing myself to be my own teacher. It's a real challenge. I learn a lot from it.
If the art is placed in the places where you live and you work, and you pass it on a daily basis, and you grow up with a piece on a wall for your first 20 years, which is what happens in the city here. We were the mural capital of the world. It's going to be up to creative people to try and rebuild a democracy. And I think that artists are going to play a very critical role. And I think community service is going to play a particular role. And I hope that we will get a control of corporate graffiti and begin to think about public good. and public space again. And those kids who are engaged in vandalization on the streets, please, you need to join the force for something better.
This is sort of a homage. This is how they do meditation, that if they didn't do this, they would die. And I understand that artistic impulse. When you meet graph writers and you meet muralists, they have to do it. Otherwise, they can't go on about their day. And the fact that underneath the sneaker of his tennis shoe, the footprint is an arrow going forward. That's an interesting metaphor about what is next for graph writers, what is next for the muralist, whether you're in LA or anywhere around the world. Good work, Mear One.